Welcome, everyone, to today's podcast. We are excited to have with you a special guest. Katy Chryst was one of our panelists for the Level Up to Scale Up business experience. Katy comes to us as a certified health and life coach with a master's degree in recreational studies and body image perception. Katy helps burnout women who are struggling with their weight and energy to create a total body transformation by ditching the diet and over-exercising mentality. She's a daughter of a college football coach with a passion to encourage individuals to take empowered ownership of their lives by focusing on their daily habits. By the end of working with Katy, clients have different rituals, different habits, and feel totally transformed in their bodies. And what Katy aims toward is not some quick fix diet, but rather making those changes last, which, I'm all about that. So I'm so glad we're going to be having the anti-diet conversation.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, we are also a football family. So, yeah. So where does your dad coach football? I would love to know.
University of Wisconsin.
Okay. My son
How about your
is
family?
my son is currently in college at the University of Jamestown in North Dakota. He's there on a partial football scholarship. So football has been a part of our family since he was like 4 or 5 years old, from Pee-wees all the way up
I love
through
that.
high school and stuff like that. So we might get to actually watch him play a game this year as a sophomore, because he was a red shirt last year. So very, very exciting.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So how did you get started in this, in your industry? Like what led you to do what you're doing?
I feel like with anybody that kind of goes into health coaching or any life coaching in general, I feel like it always starts with your own personal experience. That's really what happened with me. Is I come from a very athletic family. And so for me, developing healthy habits and exercising, it should be natural for me. Theoretically, it should be something that it's in my family. We're a sports family. We train, we do all this stuff, but it was hard after kind of in my early 20s. I gained quite a bit of weight from college. And afterwards, it was so hard for me to get into a healthy routine, to eat the good foods, to consistently do everything and drink the water and exercise. And I didn't understand why it was so hard for me to do that, or why even I felt like I was doing all of the things. I was doing the shakes, I was doing the exercise programs, I was cutting out the carbs, I was limiting dairy, and nothing was working for me. And so I was very interested in kind of background, my communications degree. I was very interested in how women were portrayed in the media. So I kind of meshed the two together and understanding, okay, why is it that kind of I'm not seeing the results that I want, but also the more and more I participate in those quote unquote healthy behaviors, I actually felt worse about my body. And then the more I felt worse about my body, I would try and exercise more or cut my calories even more.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would kind of motivate me for a little bit, but then I still didn't feel good about my body. And I was like, I don't understand why this is happening, why I can't create consistency, and why that, like, the more that I'm participating in something that's healthy, I feel worse about myself. Like, that shouldn't have been the case. And so I'm a crazy person. And so therefore I went to grad school to ask this question. Yes. I was like, yeah, I'm going to read a whole bunch and just write a whole big thesis about it because I'm crazy. But that's what I went to school, and just, it was research article after research article after research article that talked about how women have struggled so much with their body image perception. And men too. Men just are kind of not as studied as much. They're getting better a little bit more now. And so then I wanted to do something about it. And I was going to go get my PhD, but that thesis was like, nope, Katy, you got to take a little bit of break. And so that's what kind of led me to health coaching, because really focusing on, okay, right now, the health industry is not working. By telling women and men to exercise more and count more calories, it's not working.
Yeah.
Because if it would have been working, we all would be thin and fit and in the best bodies ever, and we'd be so happy. It's not working. So something is missing. And that's where just that habit development and looking at it. One of the biggest studies that I found was if you have an appearance-based motivation for your health, you're actually less likely to achieve the results that you want or establish the habits. So that in and of itself, like that's my big why of why I do this, is to help women get out of being so appearance focused and focused on losing weight or getting toned or feeling sexy. Or right now we're seeing a lot of imagery and verbiage around get your summer bod or bikini body ready or slim down for summer. We have to be away. We can't focus on those anymore because it's not going to give us the results that we want.
No, and it's
a
not
long-winded
healthy
answer.
either. Yeah.
No,
Not healthy either.
And so,
Paige, go for it, girl.
Oh, I was going to say,
you know, I got lots to say.
Oh, I know you got lots to say. But one of the things I really enjoy about you, Katy, is the fact that you are a big proponent of habits and creating discovering, creating, and establishing, right, and maintaining those healthy habits. Can you maybe share with our audience kind of like a quick roadmap on how we can do that, maybe with one habit that you can kind of walk us through?
Yeah. I always kind of give the example whenever I feel like exercise is a really hard habit to kind of implement. And so usually I give 3 kind of tactics that you can implement for just creating a habit. The first one is do it every single day. And I'm not saying like do a HIIT workout or like an extreme, like you're just going to burn out. Just move your body, get into that pattern every single day. And the reason why I say every single day when you're forming a habit is then you get rid of that kind of built-in excuse of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Like, oh, I'm really tired today, so I'll just kind of push it back for tomorrow. Or, oh, it's the weekend, I'll push it for Monday. I'll do 2 workouts on Monday. So that is just creating consistency is what you want in creating a habit. So just telling yourself, just taking it day by day, that's what you can do. Because a lot of the time when we're trying to develop these new habits, which it's hard to do. It's really, even if I just say just work out for 15 minutes a day, it's still hard to do. So just take it just look at it day by day by day. Because a lot of the times we get really overwhelmed if we can't do it. The second kind of tactic that I say too of building a habit is, and I got this from Jay Shetty, but time has memory. So if you want to kind of implement a new habit, try doing it at the same time every single day. Because then you can say, okay, 6 p.m. is my time to move. And you put it in your calendar and you establish that, and you don't, like, that's a promise that you make to yourself. That's a meeting that you make for yourself. And a lot of the times we wouldn't skimp out on meetings that we set with other people. So why do we not show up for a meeting that we set for ourselves? So that's the second kind of tactic. And then the third tactic for habit development, and there's so many too. These are just kind of the ones that I personally found really beneficial around exercise specifically, because that was my hardest one. But the use of habit stacking. And so this is when, like, let's say that the most common example of this is brushing your teeth every single day. And so we do that every single day, hopefully twice a day. And so that's a habit that's ingrained. And so if you're trying to implement a new habit, try adding a habit right after that. So let's say it's drinking water or even exercising. For me, I did this in grad school. I did the habit stacking of, I always took a shower in the morning. And so my thing was, I need to exercise before I take a shower. And if I didn't exercise, I don't take a shower. So I used a lot of dry shampoo on the days that I didn't exercise. But it just was for me to, like, again, that was the habit that was in place, the showering. And so I told myself, just exercise right before it. And then the days that I didn't exercise and I didn't shower, I just felt like something was off. And and that's how kind of ingrained in me of this habit of exercising makes me feel good. It's not about losing weight. It just makes me feel good. And it makes me feel clean because then I'll shower afterwards.
I really like that because, it is really hard. They say it takes 21 days to build a new habit or something like that, right? And
Mhm.
it can get really hard to stick with something if it's not already a part of the norm. So I love your suggestions on how we
Yes.
can start to bring in new habits into our daily routines and kind of get
And a
out of our
little
comfort zone.
comment, yes, no, and a little comment too about the 21 day to kind of establish a new habit. So I was reading a book, I think it was Robin Sharma, the 5 a.m. Club. Um, and he was talking about how it takes longer to create a habit
Mm,
than the 21 days. Cause,
mhm.
and for him, he kind of just broke it down to 60 days, which is
Interesting.
significantly longer, but it's because you have to go through 3 phases. So the first stage is you have to break your old habit. So let's say that your new habit that you're trying to implement is to work out 5 times a week or whatever we're looking for. So you have to take 20 days to break the old habit of you not working out every single day. And so that's hard. That's messy. It's hard to stop something that your body is conditioned to you to be used to. And then the next 20 days is for you to kind of figure out what is your new routine? Like, what is this going to look like for you to establish this new habit? And again, that's hard. That's messy. And then the third 20 days is you have to install your new habit and just kind of solidify this and that this is just the new you. And again, that is hard and messy too.
Mhm.
So it's not a willpower thing that we can just say, okay, in 21 days, I'm going to be a new person. If I just stick with this and have willpower, it takes a lot longer, and we should have a lot more grace with ourselves because
Mhm.
we're breaking down old habits and building up new habits.
Yeah. That is very fascinating. I haven't heard of that book, so thanks for that recommendation. Because I think that's really key. Like you said, breaking that down into those 20 days, each thing, I can totally see how that's beneficial.
And you know what, Elaine, I think you would like Robin Sharma. I think
Yeah.
you would like him. I think he would resonate with you. So I would highly suggest that you take a look at him, and we could put something in the show notes as well. But I think he would resonate with you because he's very much along the whole Brene Brown.
Mhm.
You're
That's my
certified.
girl.
I know you're certified in Brene Brown, but he's along that same realm.
Yeah.
So I think you should definitely check him out.
I definitely will. I've got some Audible credits to use.
There we go.
So, one of the things that, I come from a very body positive mindset, which came from, I was a boudoir photographer for 10 years, right? And so I encountered women on a regular who hated themselves, they hated their bodies. They were in my studio because they wanted to change how they felt about themselves. They wanted to change how they saw themselves, honestly. And so, some interesting things that I always found really interesting. It was part of my own journey, my own story of self-acceptance. And I have to give credit to Miss Tyra Banks because at the time she had a show and I happened to be flipping through the channel and it was an episode about mothers and daughters and body image. And interestingly, at the time, I was definitely a putter downer of myself. I would say really hurtful things about myself. I would call myself a fat ass. I would say my fat ass ain't going to fit in that chair. Like I would say things like that. And then one day, my daughter, who was probably 9, 10 years old, was doing cheerleading for Pee-wees and complained about the size of her thighs. And that's my time machine moment. That's the day. That is the moment in time that I go back to and I change what I said, because instead of saying what I would now say is the right thing, I just, well, what are you talking about? My thighs are bigger than yours. Oh, like I would never say that now. But what I learned from the Tyra Banks show was that daughters didn't want to be better than their mothers. And if a daughter sees her mom putting herself down, she feels that, well, we look at our parents with unconditional love. We love them no matter what size they are. Like there's no condition there. And so when our daughters hear us talk about our bodies negatively, they then bring that into their own, because if there's something wrong with my mom, there must be something wrong with me too. Right. And that was a very impactful moment for me, where I decided in that moment that I was no longer going to talk bad about myself. And it was really hard. But there was a day that when I was 5 years old, my shirt caught on fire and I have a burn on my body from that. And I would cover it up with everything I could, because I was so afraid that people were going to see it and they were going to think I was a freak or whatever. And one day we decided we were going to the mall, and I had this cute baby doll strap dress, and normally I would wear a sweater over it. And I didn't. And my husband was like, "What's going on? Are you okay? Like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, what is going on here? What's happening?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine." And we went to the mall, and my worst fear did not come true. Nobody stared at me. Nobody pointed and laughed at me. Nobody called me a freak. And so from that, it was like this light bulb had gone off in me that I needed to love myself in order to, love myself as I was, love my body, in order for me to just have that freedom and to not pass down this negative body image to my kid, which I'd already kind of done. And so I love that you're talking about, being able to, it's not working out for appearance reasons, it's working. So what motivates you besides appearance? What should we be motivated by?
That you hit it right on the head of just like, you need to search for what is your big why that's either bigger than yourself or it's impacting others. Like make it so big that like there's no other reason why you like this is the most important thing that you should be doing. And that's where like it was thrusted on you as like this, if you keep continuing feeling this way about your body or talking about your body, it's going to impact your kid. And so that's a pretty dang important motivator. And so I always tell my clients, and it's just, you need to have a big enough why that on a scale of 0 to 10, keep it really simple, as 10 is this is the most important thing I could possibly be focusing on, it has to be between an 8 and a 10. And so it's just, it's not complicated, but it takes a lot of work to really just keep asking yourself, okay, if my whole life I've just been wanting to lose weight, ask yourself these two questions of either why is that important to me, or what will having that do for me? And so maybe it's okay, losing weight, I will feel more confident. And then you ask the question again, and you keep asking those two questions until like it needs to like be deep in your bones of this is so important to me. And so there isn't one right or wrong answer as these are good motivators. I would just say the one motivator to really kind of challenge yourself to stay away from is if it's based on appearance, or if it's, I think too, I can't remember who said this quote. I heard it was re-quoted by Gloria Tadamo, and I apologize if I mispronounced her last name, but it was a quote that said, if your goals were accomplished, would it only influence you or would it change the world? And so like, think about it in that terms of you losing the weight, what could change? Your daughter's perception of herself is going to be completely rewired, and she's going to feel beautiful. And what could change for her life? Or what could change for your finances or your job or your career or your loved, like just thinking of it in that broad of a term, I think that's really powerful. Again, it's not like me just asking the same question, why is that important? Why is that important? Why is that important? That's not a complicated thing to do, but it's not easy either.
Right. Because then you really, because then you have to be really honest with yourself. And sometimes I think we have been conditioned, like you were saying, doing all that research about the media and stuff. I also did a lot of research about the media because while I was doing photography, I put together this 30-day program that I wanted to help women change how they saw themselves before they had a photo shoot. Like I was trying to change how they saw themselves because, sometimes some women would like immediately go into, oh my God, I hate the way I look. And can you just Photoshop this? And no. So I wanted to change that before they even went in front of my camera. But the diet industry, they've said, is like $1 billion business, and how loving yourself is an act of rebellion, right? And that because now you are saying no to that industry, and that I'm going to love myself and I can take care of myself. Once you love yourselves, you're going to take care of something. If you love something, you're going to take care of it. So you have to love yourself first and then start taking care of yourself, versus what I call living your life on layaway, which was, once I lose 50 pounds, then I will love myself. It's like, no, bitch, you got to do it the other way around. Like you can't wait, because tomorrow's not promised, number one. And it reinforces this ideal that thinner is better, or that you should take up less space in the world, or that, I get so irritated when I try not to read the comments, because I know the comment section on any woman who is not a size 0 is going to be body shaming. I mean, she's body shamed if she's a size 0, first of all, because she needs to eat a cheeseburger. And then she's body shamed if she's a size 12 or higher, because that girl needs to lose some weight. Everybody, I'm like, look in the mirror, bitch. Like, first of all, but it reinforces this idea that thinner is better, and that we should take up less space in the world. And I'm like, I had decided I was not going to promote dieting. I was going to promote body love and self-love, versus what the size of my pants are, what size the dress is, or what the weight on the scale is. The scale that we have, my son used it for his workouts because he needed to build muscle, but it is not in my bathroom. I do not step on it, because I know that does not define my worth. It does not define my kindness. It doesn't define anything about me. And so I'm wondering if you can talk about, how do you navigate this for the people that are like, well, I want to lose weight because I want to fit into this size, or how do you navigate with a client through that, so that doesn't become their main focus?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's a hard one to navigate around, because it's like you were saying, it's so ingrained in our self-worth, in our culture, in how we show up in the workplace. Like, all feeling thin is such a value that's placed specifically on women. The biggest thing, again, it's stepping away from focusing on your weight. Pardon me. And it's saying, you need to start building up your intuition around what actually feels good for you. Because again, when you start to actually build your intuition of what movement feels good for you, what foods feel good for you, like, weight is a byproduct of just everything that you're doing. And so if you're fueling it, if you inherently feel really good about your action steps, what you're doing, how you're feeling your body, the weight will happen. The weight will, it's a byproduct, but it's a slow game too. You don't want it to be a fast game, or else it's going to be that yo-yo again. And so it really is, a lot of the times with my one-on-one clients, it's just telling them, first off, if you are focused on appearance, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yes.
And then it's
yes.
also, because again, there's scientific studies have shown, if you're focused on your appearance, if you're focused on losing weight, you're actually more likely to feel worse about your body, regardless of any health benefits.
Yep.
So you could be losing the weight, but you're still going to feel worse about your body. And then feeling worse about our body, you're more likely to participate in poor wellness behaviors. So you're putting yourself into a negative, like almost a compounding effect of just you're backsliding if you're so focused on that. And I also try to train my clients too, of if that's in your head of, I need to lose weight, I'm not skinny enough, our brains do this really weird thing where it wants to confirm what it's like. We always want to be right. That's just like a human behavior. And so if that's the thought that's in your head, your brain will find moments in your life and in your day-to-day that's going to confirm that.
Yeah.
And so feeling bad about ourselves, what is the benefit of that? There is no benefit. There might be a little bit of a benefit that we see of, oh, but it's going to force me to work out. I'm going to be constrained to work out harder and longer, but in the long run, it's not doing us any good. So it's just kind of educating clients on that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So one of the questions that we always ask, because on our podcast, is, do you have a motto that you live by? So Elaine's motto changes normally depending on what's happening in her life or the season. Very inspirational. My motto tends to stay the same, which is, I deserve to be here, right now, no questions, it's okay. Whether it's good or bad, it's all right. Do you have a motto that you live by? Before we hear from Elaine what hers is this week, do you have a motto?
Yeah. The one that I just constantly have is go all in. Go all in on myself, go all in on my relationships, go all in on my business, of just giving everything that I can, but there is a fine line of just not burning yourself out. But I think in my perception, going all in doesn't mean it has to be healthy. It has to be good.
Yeah, it's not negative. Good. It's not negative.
Yeah. I know some people could be like, you're crazy, Katy, go all in. But no, it's not in a negative perception. It's just give it all you got.
That's right. Give it all you got. And Elaine, this week?
So this is so funny. I'm just going to tell you this because I don't know why, but earlier this week, my brain was bringing back one of my infamous quotes that is very much in alignment with this conversation. And I don't know why it was coming through, probably because the universe was saying this conversation is coming up. So I'm going to just give this to you. But the quote that I used to say, and this is my profanity quote, y'all, so just be aware it's happening, is that you don't have to change your body. You just have to change your fucking mindset, right? Because it is so much more than your body. It's all mindset, right? And so I think that is so applicable for this week's conversation.
Yes, indeed it is. Indeed it is.
And it's on my affirmation cards. It is a thing. But yeah, that is my motto that I'm gonna embrace this week.
All right, sounds good.
So Katy, the next question we always ask our guests is, how have you created a life by design and not default?
Yeah, I think when you asked that question, it was two parts of an answer. Of the one is just living into my healthiest version of me by not feeling like I need to constrain myself with food or kind of constrain myself with exercise. So really just slowing down to speed up and giving my body what it needs and moving my body the way that feels good. So I think that would be the one thing. And I think two, also I kind of created my own little career here. I come from a family of very much like you do. You go to school, you go to grad school, you have a career. My siblings are physical therapists, so it's very like A, B, C, D. I created my own, and this week was a hard week. My grandfather passed away last Friday, but
I'm sorry to hear that.
But thank you. No, I appreciate that. But it was beautiful in that my business kept running when I was my business was supporting me when I needed it. And I wasn't emotionally there, but my business still kept supporting me. And I was able, that's what I love of just kind of entrepreneurship. And anybody who's an entrepreneur, just like keep going, because there's a reason why you're doing this. And kind of reflecting on this week, that's one of my big whys, is I wanted to have a life that I could have time to mourn and my business was still working for me.
Yes, I love that. And yeah, your family is definitely in our prayers. We're sorry.
Thank you.
For your loss. So tell everyone, I mean, we could have this conversation forever and ever. And like I said, Elaine's a huge fan just because of the whole non-diet culture. I'm a huge fan because of the whole habit stacking. So tell our audience where more people can find out about your programs and your services. I know that you're also an active speaker. If someone wants someone to come in and speak in a paid capacity, please just share with us where we can find out more.
Yeah, no. So I hang out mostly on both Facebook and Instagram. So you can just find me at Katy Chryst. And yeah, I do speaking a lot on motivation and kind of transitioning from appearance-based to a more functional-based motivation and kind of tips and tricks on how to do that.
Awesome. So we just want to thank you for coming and having this conversation with us today. I know that it's
Yes.
it can be a hard topic to talk about.
Yes.
So thank you for not bringing forward diet mentality, because it's like, oh God, please don't talk about it.
No, gosh, no.
Yeah.
Run away. If you're, for anybody that's listening, like if you're viewing things and you feel worse about your body, run away from that type of a person or that program, because that's not.
Yeah,
not
diets
good.
were meant to fail you. Like there's a reason that they fail, right? Is because
Yes.
it's not sustainable and it's more harmful than good.
Yes.
Big time.
And Katy has the research to prove
Yes, thank you.
it. So we have the research. So thank you so much, Katy, for your time and for your wisdom. And we can't wait to see all the great things you're going to be doing in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this.
Awesome. All right, take care, everybody.